Welcome back to the Packer Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Patrick Corrigan, and regardless of how you found me, thank you so much for being here. The Packers are in joint practices against the Patriots this week after a nice preseason win over the Bengals on Friday night. There were some really nice performances in the game, and they're going to go up against Bill Belichick today. So, how are those roster battles shaping up? Who is playing themselves into starting position or major playing time consideration, and who is playing themselves out of the starting lineup? Who's locking up the roster spots? Let's talk about it. And probably the most concerning position that I've seen, at least on Twitter, is the kicker position. Anders Carlson, I guess you could say he's been erratic at best. And prevailing opinion, and I have to agree with them, is that the Packers need to at least bring in some competition for him and see if they can push him or at least have someone else ready to possibly handle the kicking duties until he gets his act together. On defense, I think probably the position I'm most excited about as a group is the defensive line, and they've been good in the game against the Bengals and in practices and against the Patriots today. The young guys, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Jonathan Ford, have really done a nice job. I keep seeing Carl Brooks' name pop up all over the place, putting pressure on the quarterback. And today, they didn't have Rashawn Gary and they didn't have Kenny Clark. Neither one of those guys suited up against the Patriots. And this is according to one of the Patriots media guys who was keeping stats that in practice, the Packers had 13 sacks. That's edge rushers and the defensive line. That's still an incredible job getting pressure on the quarterback. At safety, no definitive answers, no leaders in the clubhouse other than probably Darnell Savage. Jonathan Owens looked okay for the most part against the Bengals, but that one play where he just completely airmailed the tackle that big pass completion, not a great look on that one. Tavarius Moore looked pretty good in his action. Anthony Johnson Jr. has also looked pretty good recently. He's still learning, so I'm not expecting him to compete for the starting job. But as far as a roster spot goes, he's still looking pretty good. Rudy Ford, kind of not hearing a whole lot of his name. Seems to have been relegated to the second team. Just not hearing much about him. The name I am hearing a lot about in the secondary is Carrington Valentine, who's the seventh round pick. He's been fantastic in camp. He was great on family night. He was great against the Bengals. Had, I think, 3 pass breakups, had an interception, and they had him as a rookie, seventh round pick, playing press man, and he did a really nice job. I've watched some of the reps, watched the film, and he even came off press man to make a tackle for basically no gain on a running back. I have mentioned in the past that moving Rasul Douglas to safety could be an idea to solve a couple problems. And with Valentine doing such a great job, it's kind of put the Packers in a tough position where you might want to have Valentine on the field. So what do? He is a corner and a rookie, so you want to keep him as comfortable as you can. So moving the Rasul to safety might be an idea to get your top players on the field. Just a thought. On offense, the offensive line kind of getting interesting. Overall, they did a good job in pass protection against the Bengals. Wasn't great in the rushing game. Uh, Josh Myers struggling, could be playing himself out of the starting lineup. Packers will need to put their five best offensive linemen on the field. So there's been some interesting moves going on in practice and actually against the Bengals as well. John Runyon Jr. and Zach Tom have been getting snaps at center. So if one of those guys moves to center, it's going to provide an opportunity for one of these other guys who have kind of stood out in training camp to possibly find themselves in the starting lineup. Two names that kind of gotten a lot of attention lately. Sean Ryan, second year player, he had a rough rookie year and he has looked so much better this training camp and so far in preseason and could be competing for playing time at guard. So if John Runyon Jr. ends up at center, that leaves an opening at guard. Sean Ryan could be in the running for that. At tackle, if Zach Tom moves to center, Rasheed Walker was getting time with the starters this week, and he could either become the swing tackle or the right tackle, depending on how they feel about Yosh Nijman. So we'll see. Just to get everyone all worked up, the David Bakhtiari trade speculation chain or train has been heating up. Obviously, he's buddies with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron had some issues with his offensive line this week. Was not shy about letting everyone know his displeasure about it. And so the trade speculation to the Jets has started. As far as I know, I haven't seen any reports, and we might not even get a report until the deal actually gets made. But no reports that the Jets or the Packers are even talking. So right now, it's all media doing the talking. Sean Clifford has all but wrapped up the quarterback two job. He did a really nice job against the Bengals, despite the two interceptions. And he's been really good so far this week. Had a good day against the Patriots. And I think he can be a really solid number two quarterback. Tight end took a blow. Tyler Davis unfortunately tore his ACL against the Bengals. Well, I don't think it's officially been done yet. He is likely going on injured reserve and probably done for the year. Good news is Luke Musgrave, their second round pick, has looked great at tight end as the starting tight end. He's been really good in the passing game. No one seems to be able to cover him, even with the Patriots today. Kyle Duggar, who usually erases tight ends, has had issues covering Luke Musgrave. Tight end two, Tucker Kraft will obviously be entrenched as tight end two. He's been pretty good. Not as flashy as Luke, but we're going to need him now more than ever with the injury to Davis. Coming into training camp, wide receiver was a big question mark with so much youth coming into the season, but so far it's been pretty good. And let's start with the top two guys, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. And this comes from one of the Patriots media guys. And I quote his tweet: Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs were really impressive today for the Packers. Patriots secondary had its hands full. That's great news that, it's easy for you to hear it from me or coming from, Packers media, but they're getting noticed by other people in the league that these guys They're pretty good. And this is a really good Patriots secondary, probably one of the better ones in the league. Christian Watson had a big TD catch today. He's been really good in camp. And Romeo Dobbs actually got, I see a lot of media posts and everything about Romeo Dobbs that his route running, and he's just doing a fantastic job getting open consistently against the Patriots. Jaden Reed, he was a little quiet without the pads on, but he's been really good once live hitting started. Had a big catch against the Bengals. He's been good in practices. He's been playing big for a guy who isn't the biggest physically. He goes up and gets the ball, which, when you're not very big, that you go up and you're fighting and you are able to high point the ball. That's a big thing for guys in the NFL. Samari Torrey making catches. Some of the young guys, Malik Heath, Dontavian Wicks, watching the Bengals film, these guys made some really nice catches, and probably even more importantly, they were not shy about getting after it with their blocks. Malik Heath has really done a great job. Had a play against the Bengals that looked like something out of a movie, like The Water Boy or The Blind Side. He took his guy uh, blocked him all the way off the field and into the kicking net. It was unreal. Grant Dubose, seventh round pick. He's been hurt. He just got back into practice, I think, at the very end of last week. Did not play on Friday night. He has a lot of ground to cover, but so far he looks very smooth in his route running, and he's made some nice catches. And it's going to be interesting to see how many wide receivers make the final roster. Are they keeping five? Are they keeping six, which is where they'll probably end up? But they want to keep Dubose and feel good enough about the rest of these guys, which I think they do. They could possibly keep seven wide receivers. And your feel-good story for the week is Emmanuel Wilson, running back. If you watched the Bengals game, he was the guy with the huge run in the fourth quarter, the 80-yard touchdown run. Got to feel really happy for him on the anniversary of his dad's death. Had that huge day against the Bengals. Had another long run also called back. Showed breakaway speed on that 80-yard touchdown run. And he's made the running back competition even more interesting with Patrick Taylor and Tyler Goodson in the hunt to be running back three. Now, have we gotten everything? Oh, yeah. Jordan Love. How's he doing? Is he a game manager? Can he even play football? He's been good. Not a, quote, game manager. I don't like using that term as a criticism, and I think that people that use that term in a derogatory sense, they don't really know the quarterback position. It's not an either or proposition when you're talking about a playmaking quarterback or a game manager quarterback. There are a lot of playmaking quarterbacks that have never gone to and never won a Super Bowl. It's not just the game managers that end up, sitting at home on Super Bowl Sunday. When it's been called for, which is most of practice and in stretches during the games, Jordan Love manages the offense. That is most of the quarterback's job. Those are the read the defense and make the right decision and make the right throw. And he does that. We've also seen some great throws, and just today he made some great throws in practice against the Patriots. He will also miss some throws. Every quarterback does. Even Aaron Rodgers missed guys who were open. Didn't make him a game manager. Jordan Love Had a bad throw on Friday night that keeps getting replayed. Do you know why Luke Musgrave was so open? Watch the film, watch the linebackers, and watch Jordan Love. Jordan Love had the linebackers running the wrong way because he influenced them with his body and his eyes. He just missed the throw after that. It happens. He still completed over 70% of his passes. Jordan Love is doing all the right things that you want him to do. He'll still have to prove himself when the season starts, but for now, he's good, doing all the things I want to see him do. Just a reminder, if you're like me and you feel like it's kind of been too quiet this preseason because there haven't been any cuts so far for the most part. So there is just one cut down day this year, and that's Tuesday, August 29th. Until then, teams don't have to cut anybody. But Tuesday, on that Tuesday at the end of August, they'll have to get down to 53. I'll be back on Sunday to talk about the Patriots game. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Be safe and go Pack Go.